Why it sucks to be a feral beast Wolverine. The moment Logan loses the adamantium and finds out the real monster wasn't the metal, it's what the metal was holding back. It sounds like an upgrade, right? Lighter body, no metal poisoning, pure Wolverine. Except, pure Wolverine is just your humanity getting uninstalled like a buggy app update, and you don't get a restore point. And the worst part, he doesn't even notice the line where survival instinct turns into "I'm not Logan anymore" until it's already chewing through his life. So what actually happens to a guy whose whole identity is "I heal" when the healing starts rewriting the man? Logan feels it first in the small ways, the kind of warning your body gives you right before something goes catastrophically wrong. His senses spike like somebody cranked the game too high. The air tastes like metal. Every heartbeat in the room is suddenly a drum. And his healing factor is already working before anything even happens. It's like it knows what's coming and it's trying to get ahead of it. People think his power is safety. It's not safety. It's the reason his body can afford to experience things no living organism is supposed to experience. Normal people avoid the stove because the stove hurts. Logan walks into the stove because his cells will clean up the mess. So, when the moment arrives, he does what Wolverine always does. He goes for the throat. In X-Men 1991, issue 25, Wolverine gets a clean shot at Magneto and slashes him. For a split second, it looks like the fantasy. The feral guy with the claws finally does what you wish you could do to your problems. No therapy, no closure, just a sharp solution. And then Magneto reminds everyone why he's the master of magnetism. He doesn't throw Logan through a wall. He doesn't drop a building on him. He reaches into Wolverine and pulls. On a molecular level, Magneto rips the adamantium out of Logan's body, and it's so violent that Jean Grey has to hold his body together with telekinesis, while Professor X holds his mind together so he doesn't collapse into pure shock. This is the first cursed punchline. Wolverine isn't dying because he's weak. He's dying because he's too durable to pass out fast enough. The pain has time to happen. Every inch of that metal getting dragged through him is a reminder that immortality doesn't mean invulnerability. It just means the suffering gets an extended cut. Picture that room for a second. Metal screaming out of his bones, blood everywhere, Jean basically acting like organic duct tape while Charles is trying to keep his brain from shattering. And all any bystander learns is, oh, the unkillable one can still be turned into a meat puzzle. And everybody watching learns the truth that makes your stomach drop. The adamantium was never just his weapon, it was also the thing his healing factor had been wrestling every second of his life. The metal was a constant burden, a constant limiter, a constant anchor that kept his body and his mutation in a kind of awful balance. Take it away and you don't get a cleaner Wolverine. You get an unstable Wolverine, one whose biology is now free to do whatever it thinks survival requires. He survives that day. Barely, but after you've been held together by someone else's telekinesis and telepathy, you don't wake up feeling like a hero. You wake up feeling like a lab animal that escaped the table. And that's where the feral era actually starts. Once the metal's gone, Wolverine finds out the next problem isn't his enemies. It's the fact that his mutation was never finished evolving, and now it has room to run. Logan survives the adamantium rip, and that survival is the first scam. His body is lighter, faster, and no longer wrestling a metal skeleton that's been poisoning him for years. So everyone expects the upgrade, better Wolverine, cleaner Wolverine, the version that finally gets to breathe. But this is where the power fantasy breaks in half. Wolverine's healing factor isn't a comfort blanket, it's an emergency system. It doesn't care about dignity, it doesn't care about long-term mental health, it cares about one thing only: keep the organism alive. And without adamantium acting like a permanent break on his biology, the healing factor starts doing what it was always designed to do: optimize, adapt, rewrite. In other words, Logan doesn't just heal, he changes. You don't get a montage of peaceful recovery. You get mood whiplash, shorter fuse, less patience. Picture him in the mansion kitchen grabbing coffee while Jubilee tries small talk, and he's already 3 steps into mapping which cabinet she's blocking if this turns into a fight. Little things set him off and then are forgotten, filed under threat neutralized. The people around them feel it even if they can't name it yet. It's like updating your phone and suddenly the battery lasts longer. Great, except the update also changed your keyboard, so every word you type comes out angrier than you meant it. You keep telling yourself you're fine, you're still you, you're in control. But the healing factor doesn't just regenerate tissue anymore, it reinforces whatever kept you alive last time. Pick the fastest solution, repeat until personality becomes optional. The more problems he solves with claws, the more natural claws feel. And then comes the moment that turns the whole situation from unsettling to horrifying. Once the adamantium is gone, Logan learns his claws were never just implants. The metal was a coating. Underneath, the claws are bone, meaning the weapon wasn't something they did to him. It was something he always was. If that doesn't mess with your head, congratulations! You might already be feral. Now every time those claws come out, it's not a gadget, it's anatomy. It's his skeleton trying to become what it thinks it should have been all along. A predator with built-in knives, a healing factor that keeps it hunting, and a brain that's starting to confuse restraint with weakness. So Logan's problem isn't that he can heal, it's that he's healing into something. And the scariest part, you don't even need a villain anymore. His mutation starts doing reveals like it's launching a new season. After Magneto yanks the metal out of him, everyone assumes the claws are gone too. That's the whole brand, right? Metal claws, metal skeleton, the living kitchen knife set. Then Logan pops the claws again, and surprise, they're still there. Not shiny, not indestructible, not the cool collectible version. Bone. That's the moment your stomach does that little drop, like when you realize the weird noise your car's been making isn't the radio, it's the engine begging for mercy. The metal was never the weapon, it was the skin on the weapon, the coating, the fancy case, the premium subscription tier. Underneath it, he was always built like this. He's not a man who got turned into a weapon by a lab, he's a weapon that learned how to pretend to be a man. And the bone claws aren't just a visual twist, they change how every fight feels. Adamantium claws are distance. You can lie to yourself that it's just hardware, it's just a tool. Somebody installed it, and you're choosing how to use it. Bone claws are intimate. They're your skeleton saying, I would like to exit your hands now. Every time he extends them, it's not a superhero pose. It's his body doing the equivalent of pulling its own teeth out and calling itself self-defense. If your weapon is literally part of your bones, then you never clock out. You don't put the claws away and become normal, because normal is gone. You're always armed, you're always dangerous, you're always one adrenaline spike away from proving every person who was scared of you right. Which is exactly why this feral era is so cursed for Logan. His whole identity has always been built around one fragile promise: I'm a monster, but I'm a monster with rules. Now the mutation is asking a different question. What if the rules were the weakness? And if you think that's just philosophical, don't worry, his body's about to start backing that question up in ways everyone can see. The next stage isn't just what comes out of his hands, it's what starts happening behind his eyes when his instincts realize the metal leash is gone. Logan starts losing the small battles first. He snaps faster, sleeps less, listens to arguments like they're background noise. His patience gets filed down to nothing. He's not brooding anymore, he's scanning, like everyone in the room is a potential problem. Then it starts showing physically. His posture shifts, more crouched, more ready. His face gets harder angles. Imagine standing in a war room during a briefing and realizing Logan hasn't blinked in 2 minutes and his eyes are tracking every hand movement like prey behavior. The kind of look that makes people check where the exits are even when he's still sitting still. You don't stand next to him, you orbit him at a safe distance, in case gravity suddenly flips. This is the part that breaks the X-Men. They've seen Logan angry, they've seen him violent, they've seen him walk into suicide missions and come back soaked in regret. But this is different. This isn't rage. This is regression. It's like watching someone forget how to be a person, one reflex at a time. Storm can try to talk him down. Cyclops can bark orders. Jean can try to reach his mind, but instinct doesn't care about leadership charts. If the animal brain decides you're a threat first, the human brain doesn't get a vote. So everyone starts doing the math in real time. If Logan goes full feral in the middle of the mansion, how many seconds before someone dies? And how do you stop a guy who treats getting stabbed like a coffee break? Wolverine without restraint isn't a hero gone rogue. It's a living disaster with a healing factor that makes consequences optional. He doesn't need to win fights anymore, he just needs to outlast you. And unfortunately, that's always been his specialty. So Logan starts becoming the guy who survives everything except his own reflection. The feral state isn't a light switch, it's a slow fade. One day you're Logan with anger issues. Next day you're something wearing Logan's face and his claws are out before you even finish the question. So when the chance comes later to get the adamantium back, it doesn't feel like redemption. It feels like choosing which cage you want to live in. Here's the sick joke at the center of Wolverine's entire existence. The metal made him a weapon someone else controlled. But without the metal, he becomes a weapon no one can control, not even himself. Getting the adamantium back isn't about power, it's about damage control. It's the equivalent of signing terms and conditions while you're bleeding out in a ditch. You don't read the fine print, you just click accept and hope the update doesn't break your entire operating system. And yeah, the metal comes back eventually, but it doesn't erase what happened. Logan learns one lesson no healing factor can fix. The cage was never the adamantium. The cage was always his own biology. He finally understands that every version of him is a prison build. Muscle and metal are just different types of bars. You're not choosing freedom, you're choosing which warden gets the keys. Either the world is holding him back, or his mutation is pushing him forward, and neither direction leaves much room for peace. So the feral era ends not with a victory, but with a compromise. Logan gets his metal, he gets his stability, he gets to look like the Wolverine everyone remembers. The posters can stay the same, the merch still works, but he also gets the knowledge that the beast is still in there, waiting, healing, ready to come back the second the leash slips again. Once you've seen what your body is willing to turn you into just to keep going, every quiet moment feels like a countdown. And that's the thesis. Wolverine's power was never a gift, it was a countdown. Survival at all costs eventually costs everything. The adamantium kept him human by keeping him sick, and freedom from the adamantium proved that human was never the default setting. He's a guy whose entire life is built on one horrible trade. Either let the world use you as a weapon, or risk becoming a weapon that uses the world. So yeah, you want to be Wolverine, you want the healing factor, the claws, the immortality. Cool, just understand that immortality doesn't mean you get to stay yourself forever. It means you get to watch yourself become something else. And the worst part, you'll heal too fast to die before you see it happen. So yeah, rip the adamantium out and set Wolverine free. Congrats! You didn't free a hero. You just removed the last speed bump between man and animal. Still want the healing factor? Cool. Enjoy waking up one day and realizing the claws were never the scariest part. It was always what they were attached to.